Hey guys, my name is Emma and today I've got a book haul for you. Holy crap, I just tried to take the thumbnail photos for those. Oh, that is some weightlifting. I've not counted how many I have here, so I'll put the number at the end, however many books we have. But let's just say it's a lot. So I posted a ebook haul, correct grammar please Emma. I posted an ebook haul probably a week or two ago now, and that had about 30 odd books in it, and I said in it that I had a load of books for my physical book haul, but that I was going to Ely with my partner and I was going to wait until that because I knew I'd buy some books there. We haven't actually got to Ely yet. Work keeps occurring and then I keep going off and seeing people, and our days off just haven't coincided. So Ely is still to come, but my book collection keeps growing, so we need to get a haul done fairly soon. The first collection of books I have for you were from a secondhand bookstore in Cambridge called Pluribel's, which is awesome. My family recently donated a load of books to them, which means that they gave me basically free reign in their bookshop to pick whatever I wanted. So I left with some books. They do tend to do a lot of classics and classic sci-fi and a lot of like older books rather than anything that you can see modern, and they have a fairly big collection of things that were published in like the 90s and early 2000s. So let's roll through. You've already seen my copy of Catch 22 if you've watched anything to do with my banned bookathon. I'll link everything down below. This I did get from them. It's a gorgeous cover. It was from it's like published in the 1980s, this one. I'm currently reading this right now and it's flipping wicked. It's so funny. I can't like handle how funny this is. I also picked up George Orwell's Animal Farm, which I was supposed to read for the banned bookathon and didn't quite get around to it. Spoiler alert for my wrap up in case you haven't seen that yet. So I picked that one up there. I've got The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat by Oliver Sacks. This is about various people who have sort of various different neurological disorders, which mean that they end up experiencing the world very differently and their senses are a bit different. And the man who mistook his wife for a hat has prosopagnosia, which is to do with where you can't recognise people's faces very much. And I learnt about it in my A-level psychology, and I've been meaning to read this book since then, but never quite got around to it. So now I own a copy, so maybe I will. We have Jane Austen's Northanger Abbey, much prettier cover of Jane Austen's Persuasions. My plan is to do like a classics chapter challenge because I'm trying to read more classics in general, hence the reason why I'm picking up so many. Then we have The Supernatural Omnibus, this is volume 1, Hauntings and Horror, which is just like a collection of short stories by various fairly big name old school sci-fi writers, all with haunting and horror type vibes to them. And I've got like a load of spooky readathons coming up. I'm going to do Spookathon. It is October tomorrow. Got me this on the last day of September. So I might get round to this. But it's got people like, it's got like loads of ones from like Dickens in here and Bram Stoker, and Evelyn Nesbit, and yeah, just Wilkie Collins, and like loads of people whose names I totally like know but haven't really read much about. So I'm really keen for it, and they did have more volumes back at the store, so if I enjoy it I might get some more of them. Then we have The Book of Fires by Jane Borrowdale, historical fiction and somebody making fireworks, and I think then there's a whole family drama linked in there as well. This is The Raven by Peter Landsman, and this is something to do with a ship. The ship is called The Raven, that's the title of the book, and it goes missing or sinks or something, and basically something really weird with the bodies, and I get the vibe it's a bit of a weird thriller, and it might even be based on a true story. It just sounded creepy and weird and funky, and I love the cover, and this all just looks cool, so we might get around to it soon, who knows. Then I have Angel Bird by Sanjida O'Connell. This one is set in Northern Ireland, and it's a zoologist or a budding zoologist who goes there to study birds, and in doing so meets somebody, and there is a whole thing that occurs, who knows. But I might end up using this for Ireland for my book world tour, because the book that I had for Ireland I started and really didn't enjoy, so I'm looking for a new one, and this might be it. So those are all the ones that I picked up from the secondhand bookstore. My local library was doing a sale. I picked up Paul Hoffman's The Left-Handed God. This is a fantasy series, I think high fantasy. I've seen it around 1,000,000,001 times. It's one of these ones that I keep meaning to read at some point, so I'm pretty sure this is book number 1, and it was about 50p, so I figured screw it, we'll get it and we might get round to it. There's a lot of we might get round to it in these. A lot of these are not that like, oh my god I can't wait kind of a vibe. They're just more, oh this looks interesting, and it might end up being unhauled in like 2 years time, or I might get around to it, who knows, who knows indeed. Book hauls are tiring, man. this is like more cardio than I've done in a week. So the Works had a sale on, which was like 6 paperbacks for a tenner. So I had a little look-see online and picked up a few. The Works, I find, is one of these shops that, like, you walk in there and when you have a look around, most of the time there's nothing that you want at all. But then it has these odd little gems, and some of my absolute favourite books that have come out of complete left field, I've picked up in the Works on a spur of the moment order for like £1 or £2. I've got The Summer Queen by Elizabeth Chadwick. I think this is book 1 in a series, and it's historical fiction and it's to do with royalty, and it's set in 1137, so like proper historical, which sounds cool. I've got The Alienist by Caleb Carr. This is another historical fiction, but this is set in the 1800s and it is more of a thriller, so it's looking at serial killers and things like that. Apparently it's been made into a Netflix original series as well, which I did not know about. The Witch of Salt and Storm by Kendall Culper. This one is about a girl who wants to learn about her heritage and her witchcraft, but her mother wants her to give up her magic and run away, and I'm assuming things ensue because of that. Then I have by Julian May Magnificent, and I think that's a fitting word for this cover. This was a little bit of a cover buy. This is a space odyssey, I think. Like humanity has spread across the galaxy and there are colonies, but then there's a group of selfish people who don't want to mix with the other aliens, and they want to keep humanity remaining pure, because of course there always are people who don't want to have fun with other people. Almost like a space terrorist organisation within it, whose methods are really frowned upon as a way of getting through. So I'm hoping it's going to be one of these books that has a deeper message wrapped up in like a sci-fi package. Then I have The Keeper of Lost Things by Ruth Hogan. I'm going to assume this is kind of a contemporary fiction. It's something to do with a bloke who spends half of his life collecting things, and then when he realises that he doesn't have much time left, he wants to try and return them back to their missing owners, or the missing items back to their lost owners. You know what I mean, that kind of a vibe. The lighting's getting a bit weird in here because the sun's going down. So my very yellow light is taking on. My rabbit's also shaking the pen because he desperately even wants to come and say, hey, now darling. Then I've got Deep Storm by Lincoln Child. This is about an oil rig who the people in it might have found evidence of Atlantis. This was again a bit of a cover buy. Look how gorgeous that is. Like, the colours are great, and it just sounds funky and fun and a bit quirky, and I think it's going to have a little bit that sort of like magical realism, but not quite, sort of slightly fantastical in places, slightly mythical in places. But the main character is a former naval doctor, so I'm assuming he's going to be a bit more straight-laced army type who can't believe all this nonsense, and I really enjoy those characters. I think it's going to be good fun. Then, with the note of Spookathon and readathons in October and spooky things coming up, I have been on a bit of a book buying binge for things to fit in with that. I bought a load from Wilder Books, specifically with Spookathon in mind, and I'm so sure that there were more in this order than have turned up. But actually I think it's just that they turn up in separate packages, and I think some of them turn up and I've already put them on the bookshelves. Like, I definitely bought a few books that I've already read, which I've either lost a copy or it was an audiobook or a library book, and I think they've just become amalgamated in my read shelf, and now I don't know what I ordered. So sorry about that. I know I definitely did order from them Stephen King's Sleeping Beauties, written with his son Owen King. It's about women who fall into comas and start to become cocooned. I'm really hoping to get to it in the Spookathon. It fits for a couple of the challenges in that, and it's a beastly book, because a lot of Stephen King's ones are. I've read so much of Joe Hill, which is his other son, which I've really loved, and I've been trying to dabble with Stephen King a little bit more, so quite a lot of these books are with that in mind. I know I've got Under the Dome coming soon as well, but it's not arrived yet, and I can't remember when I actually ordered it, so I need to work out whether it's outside of the like takes 10 working days kind of thing to chase them up. But hopefully Under the Dome will arrive soon, and I'm tempted to go for that one. The other Stephen King one I've got is the Bachman books, which is a collection of his stories when he was writing as Richard Bachman. I read The Running Man back in July time, and I really enjoyed it, which is what basically made me want to try and read more Stephen King, because I hadn't enjoyed King up to that point. This one specifically has within it The Long Walk, which is about a reality TV show where 100 boys start walking, and basically they keep going until the last one standing, and that's the one that I'm really keen to read. Again, I'm hoping to get to that one in Spookathon. my Spookathon TBR is going to be a bit cray. Then I picked up Maggie Stiefvater's The Raven Boys. Not read this yet, don't tend to read YA, but at the moment, with life being really hectic, I really enjoy YA when the world gets a bit too crazy, because generally the plots and the characters are a little bit easier to follow, it's a little bit lighter to read, and I find that it's just a bit easier on my brain. So I do have a few YA books kind of stacking up here or there, specifically with crazy times in life in mind. So I've got an exam coming up at the end of October, I'm currently studying an MBA, and my midterm, because it's an American based company, it's online, my midterm is coming up at the end of October, and I just think when I'm knee deep in revision for that, this will be really good to try and get to there. Then on last Friday, rather than going to Ely and shopping with my man, instead me and my mother decided to take on St Albans, and we went and did a load of clothes shopping and bought a load of various items that we really didn't need, like this scarf and these earrings. Look at this, how funky are these? They're hiding in my hair right now. But we also went into the Waterstones, and she treated me to a few books, so I let her pick these ones completely. There was obviously a bit of interaction from me, but these are ones that she has picked for me, which is gonna be really cool. So there are 3 of them in total, and all 3 of them came from the sci-fi or fantasy section. So the first one she picked out was Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson, and this is something to do with like a cyberspace kind of world where internet and technology is taken over, and you've got like freelance hackers, and you've got some kind of crazy cyber drug which is like a computer virus, and it's this whole sort of crazy world based in sort of a sci-fi future where there's tech has taken over. I'm getting a kind of vaguely Ready Player One vibe from it, even though I've not read it yet. Then she grabbed me A Scanner Darkly by Philip K. Dick. I read The Man in the High Castle earlier on this year, which was the first Philip K. Dick that I read, and it was an interesting read, and definitely means that I want to read more Philip K. Dick now. So this one again is to do with some kind of crazy drug on the black market that we shouldn't be going for. It's a lot thinner. Philip K. Dick is one of the like OG cool kids in sci-fi, and I have been wanting to read more from him, and this has been made into a movie, I'm pretty sure. Like, A Scanner Darkly rings a bell. I think it's with Keanu Reeves. I think I've seen snippets of it, so it looked cool. And then the final one in this book haul is Adrian Tchaikovsky's The Tiger and the Wolf, which I think this is the prettiest cover. It's been a close call, there's been some very pretty colours, but I think this one wins, because look, shiny shiny. So distracted by that. My mum's just picked up Children of Time from him, and then when we were at the shop I saw this. So this is the first one in a series which is not related to Children of Time in the slightest. But the idea is that Mum's going to read Children in Time, I'm going to read this, and we're going to kind of compare notes on his style of writing and see. So this is about shapeshifters, and we have a character from the Wolf Clan who is supposed to be taking over from her father, who is the chieftain, and then they have a rival which is the Tiger Clan, but the main character has a secret, which is that she can both turn into a wolf and a tiger. Dun, dun, dun. I've been on like a massive sci-fi fantasy kick recently, so I'm really just feeling that right now, and classics. That's generally the gist of this haul, isn't it? We've got sci-fi, and we've sci-fi / fantasy and classics. So that's it from me. You have a book haul from me. There probably should have been more books in that. I've lost track as to what I bought when, which is what I generally do, which is why I haven't done a book haul yet, despite the fact that I definitely could do one each month, because I definitely pick up enough books. I just lose track, and I can't be bothered to try and separate them out. So God knows when I'm next going to do another book haul. I'm hoping that I'm going to stop buying quite so many books. Like, Andy and I are still going to go to Ely and go to that secondhand bookstore, so I'm clearly going to buy some books there. But other than that, I'm going to try and put a bit of a limiter on this. Oh no, I wanted to buy a few more for Spookathon. Other than the ones for Spookathon as well, I'm going to try and put a limiter on this, because it is starting to get faintly ridiculous, and I do need to start wading through some of these. So I'm hoping that other than Ely and the very specific list of books that I need for Spookathon, no more books until end of November. Yeah, that's a serious book buying ban. I will probably tune in with a book haul in like 2 weeks time, where I've clearly broken this. But who knows? Did you see any books in there that you've read before, or that you think I should get to, or that kind of drew your eye? A lot of these are sort of off the beaten track, and I will chat to you guys soon. God knows when. Have a great week. Enjoy reading. Live life wonderfully. I'm in a really weird mood because of this cold. I love you all. I'm losing my scarf. There we go. Now I love you all.